Okay, TIs, it's April 17th, I believe, April 18th, 2023. Yeah, it's the 18th. And it was really funny. My phone did an update and said that I wouldn't be getting any more updates, and I know that the perps do their own updates. So, and now I can't use my camera unless I allow permissions from nearby Bluetooth. You can't change it. I've tried everything in settings. So I guess they want to listen to me. I want to talk about another thing too. I've talked over the years. I've talked to a handful of TIs or more, couple of handfuls, I guess. Talked to them on the phone. I've only met like one in person. But what they like to do to us is so we stay apart and we're by ourselves, so there's no corroboration on what's happening, like all the damage they do and all the stuff they do to us. They don't want us talking to any other TIs. So what they do is they listen to the phone calls, on all your phone calls, not just every phone call you make, they listen to it. And it's mostly done, like the listening part is mostly done through Bluetooth. That's why you see those perps with the things in their ears, because they're listening to your phone calls and stuff, and other reasons. What they do to TIs is, one of the things they do is when they're listening to the phone call, they gather any information that you're giving out and they use that against you. Anything that you talk about or anything on the phone that they can use against you, they will. They're just listening for people can't understand why they're listening. They think it's because they're being they're nosy. It's not because they're nosy. They're listening for anything that they can use against you. So one of the things, especially if you're talking to another TI, which they do not want you doing that, they'll if of course you're going to start talking about like what's happening to you, like what's happening, like all the damage that's done in your apartment or your house, and all the stalking and all the things that's going on, that they're doing to you illegally. So you're going to talk to another TI about all that. Well, as soon as they hear you talking to another TI about that, then they'll use those same tactics and start doing it. Like if you say, okay, well, somebody's putting holes in all my clothes, well, then if the other TI that is not going through that, they'll start doing that to the other TI, so that way they won't want to talk to you anymore, because everything you're saying, then they start doing to the other TI that hasn't had that situation before. They will have it because they don't want you talking together. Because then after that keeps happening after a few times, then the other TI is going to think, well, her program's worse than mine, and I don't want to talk to her no more, because it's happening to me, and if every time she tells me something, it's going to start happening to me. You see how they do? They play two against the middle, basically. That's what they're doing. I've seen that so much. Like, I've talked to TIs and they've done that, and they do that a lot. That's one of the psychological tactics they use, so because they don't want us talking to each other. See, so you got to watch out for that. I don't care. It doesn't bother me, because it doesn't matter, because whatever they do to me, they're going to eventually do anyways to you over all the years. It depends on how long you've been in the program, because it's run in steps. So it don't matter, you're going to eventually get it anyways. So what is it? I mean, either now or later you're going to get it, so it don't matter. But they don't want you talking, and they don't want you talking about the program either at all. They do not. Because I noticed that every time I talk about the program, anything in particular that's being done to me, they'll start. That's another thing too. Like, if you complain about, oh, well, they're putting holes in all my clothes, they think that bothers you. So then they'll start doing it worse. They'll do more and more and more and more to you. They don't want you talking about the program at all, and what they're doing. They don't want you showing any evidence or anything like that. So just be aware that anything that you talk about or do will be ramped up. Also too, like I've heard a lot of other TIs say, well, you're not showing your face. Well, yeah, because there's a reason for me not doing that. We already got AI that can call you on the phone and you think it's, let's say for instance, you think it's your friend and you're not even talking to your friend, you're talking to AI. It's a simulation, a voice simulation. All they need is one little voice, 2 or 3 words from you, and they can call you, and they could call you and make it sound, they could call you and you think you're talking to yourself. So they do that already, so they already have your voice, and they can also replicate your face, and I don't want that happening. I know that they can do it, and I don't want that happening. Yeah, my voice is already out there, but it's different with your face, right? So yeah, I mean, not to say that it hasn't ever been on camera or anything, but why make it worse? I just don't want it like. There's another TI having an issue with a certain perp, and he's kind of a hacker, so there's that. So that's why that's why. I mean, it's up to you whether you want to or not, and you might have reasons why you do, and that's good, but I just know electronics and I know the capabilities. So I just don't like that part of it for myself. It's because I'm not scared for the TI community. I talk on the phone. I've done a lot of things in the TI community. Not a lot of things, but I've done a few little things. But I've never, no, I don't want to do that because I know where that can go. Okay, and then so there's that. I'm just putting these out so you're aware. Don't let them do that to you. Like, yeah, if you're talking to another TI, just expect it to ramp up. But don't make them stop you from talking to that person for the stuff that they do to us. This is a war. You're at war. So don't think that anything, whether it's your job, if you have one, if you're lucky enough to get a job, or this is a war. You're always going to be at war. That's one thing I think a lot of TIs don't understand is we don't have any rights anymore. And yes, TIs think they do, and they say, oh, well, my rights. Well, that's true, but we don't have any. If you don't, it's like being a prisoner of war. I hate that. I hate that it's happening, but I'm also a realist, and I know what, that you ain't going to change this because you're fighting against a lot of people who have a lot of power. I mean, yes, I believe someday it will be changed, but I really don't think it's going to be anytime soon, and I don't think that any president's going to change it because we already had Trump and he didn't do anything. I was still a TI and still going through all the same crap that I'm doing now with through Obama. I went through it with Trump, and I'm still going through it with this president, the Democratic president, Biden. I'm still going through it. It doesn't matter. It's been the same program all along. Trump said he was going to drain the swamp. He never did that. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who's in office. Their hands are tied a lot of times. I mean, they're not solely running the country by themselves. The president's not solely running the country by himself. He has a whole political party under him, a whole bunch of people. So, there's that. Nobody's going to save us. Nobody's going to save us. Eventually, if we keep working together and keep standing up and keep posting videos and keep going to the rallies, I agree, we need to be more visible. We need to come together, but it's hard when they're doing stuff like I just mentioned. They did that to me and another TI. That's how I know. I'm speaking from experience. It's not something I made up. They did that, and we just stopped talking. she finally just had it and stopped talking to me. And she finally got to where she was saying, don't tell me, you know, we were telling each other, don't tell me anymore. We had to stop talking about the program altogether because of that. So, I mean, nobody's going to save us, but eventually I think the program will eventually get eradicated. I don't know when. I don't know if I'll see it in my lifetime. I know I'm an older lady, and they've caused a lot of health problems for me. I don't know if I'll see it in my lifetime, but I can just hope. But I've been in the program so long, I don't know now. So there's that. Well, my time's up and my arm's shaking. Okay, I better go. Peace and love.